Yes, shows that we are live.
We are live?
Yeah, 7 seconds. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Back. Were you able to tag ReFind you as well?
Okay, I have not tagged ReFind you. Where is the tag supposed to be? Tell me.
I think on top only, in the title.
In the
Only if you're
title?
able to. I've already put a post saying if you are not able to see it on ReFind you, come to
And your destination is the place?
sorry?
Facebook page. 1 second. You can see here? Okay, great. Okay.
Yes, I can see that you are live. Yes, and people are responding. Great.
People are responding. I can't see, but okay. ReFind you.
I think we can start now.
Okay.
After all.
So while I am still not able to figure out who is online, who is not online, but yes, okay. So we're getting started. और गाना से ही शुरुआत होगा. Sush, please get started with a beautiful song.
So I will sing the same song that I had sung for the previous post that we had done together. Okay.
Yes.
Hmm. बगिया बगिया बालक भागे तितली फिर भी हाथ ना लागे इस पगले को कौन बताए ढूंढ रहा है जो तो जग में कोई नहीं पाए तो मन नहीं पाए सपनों से भरे नैना के नींद है न चना I don't remember the lyrics that much, but
Yes.
yes.
हिंदू सपनों से भरे नैना ना नींद है ना चैना क्योंकि आ गया है कोरोना कोरोना ने लूट लिया है नींद और चैन and that is why we are redoing this whole conversation rather than conversation with Sushma. Piछले बार it was in the form of Q&A, it was all in the form of text, and for almost like 7-8 months we have been thinking एक video करना है, and I think this was the time that
Absolutely.
we
I'm so glad we were not able to do it earlier. This is so relevant now.
Yeah, it's actually relevant now. So first, tell us about yourself, Sush, because everybody thinks, everybody knows that you are into singing, but professionally, what do you do? Many people do not know. So please tell us all.
Yes, so many people on your timeline especially would not know. Hopefully people on ReFind, you know it. So yes, I'm a counseling psychologist professionally. I'm also a success coach. I'm an NLP practitioner. So I make my living out of psychology. I have to put it in one line. So the ReFind You is the name of my organization, and the tagline is Resolve to Evolve. So that is our goal. We help people resolve their issues so that they can evolve to be better versions of themselves. And so in a nutshell, that's the work that I do. I practice out of Mahim. I practice out of Andheri, Meera Road as well. I live in Meera Road. And as of now, everything is virtual. So yes, work is going on that way. That's about it.
And even our video is virtual today. We could not record it. We were to meet. Nahi hua.
Right.
We are live on Facebook and we have a lot of people watching us. So coming to the main part. When we use the term mental health, what actually does this term mean?
Well, colloquially, when we use the word mental, people say crack, khiska hua. However, the dictionary meaning of mental is of the mind, right? And a lot of people say, I am not mental. The point is, if you are a human being, you are mental. Because if you are not mental, then you're not alive, right? You have a mind, and therefore you have things to do with the mind, which means that we all have a mental side to ourselves. And mental health. So when we say physical health, we mean well-being of the physical body. Similarly, when we say mental health, it means good health of the mind. When we say mind, it involves a lot of things. It involves emotions, feelings, our thinking, our cognitions, thoughts, reasoning, memory, all of those things. So yes, that's mental health.
That's mental health. Now, how do you define depression? What are the characteristics? How does one come to know when one is depressed?
Right. Very, very big word, very, very loosely used word. And there's so much being said about depression on social media, especially in order to create awareness, that sometimes it has a reverse effect because a lot of people start panicking uh, by the thought of depression. Like there are times when clients will also say, I'm scared, I hope I'm not depressed. Right? So, what is depression? Let's try and understand that. Some people say depression is sadness. Some people say depression is not sadness. Some people say depression is this lonely feeling, this feeling of hopelessness, feeling of nothingness, feeling of emptiness. So, if I have to define it in a very, very simple way, it's a sum total of all of these things. It's this entire feeling of this deep, empty, I don't have anything to look forward to kind of a feeling, which lasts for a relatively long period of time. We all feel low, right? We all have those moments where we don't feel like doing anything. So depression is characterized by a lack of purpose. I don't feel like getting up and doing anything internally, right? While externally, I may be uh, able to put on this really awesome mask saying that I'm so good, I'm so happy, etc. But there is this full disconnect between what I'm actually feeling internally and what is happening externally or what I'm portraying externally. Okay, so characteristics wise, it's characterized. So there are physical symptoms. You could either feel too sleepy, too lethargic. You just don't feel like getting up. You don't feel like taking bath. That doesn't mean that lockdown में अगर आप नहा नहीं रहे हो तो इसका मतलब ये है कि आप depressed हो. Not necessary. Please, I need to make sure that I am clarifying this. Correct. अगर आपको बोर हो रहा है कुछ करने के लिए versus if there is this absolute, it's like, there is this burden that you are carrying with yourself throughout. You just don't know how to get around to uh, resolving that, and as a result of which you don't feel like shaving, don't feel like talking to anyone, just don't feel like being happy, right? So that's those are some of the physical characteristics of depression, right? And emotionally, yes, there is this, like I said, there's this really low feeling and uh, really intense, sad, empty feeling, which is characterized business, which is very pertinent in today's times because of the scare. Also, a lot of people feel that feeling of helplessness, right? Because they're like, there's very little that we can do to resolve the issue. So, not necessary that everyone would be depressed, because the way one would perceive the circumstances, like the way you would perceive it, could be different from the way I perceive it, could be different from the way someone else perceives it. So, yeah.
Okay. Um, how do having interacted with different kinds of people, what are the common reasons for depression?
So, the okay. So if there could be loads of reasons, okay? Because like I said, it's at the end of the day, a person's basic attitude towards certain situations that they encounter, and if they repeatedly look at it in that particular way, and I'm saying this from a day-to-day perspective, okay? I'm not talking about clinical depression, wherein there is a whole chemical component associated with it, right? So that's a different arena to get into, because that's more like illness or a more chronic problem, right? So I'm talking from a more day-to-day perspective. When
Okay.
someone is feeling depressed, it's basically so there could be loads of reasons, right? So if I have to broadly categorize it into two categories, one is when I don't get from others or the world what I always used to get. So I have an expectation that my friends will give me a call. I will always be appreciated by my colleagues. I will, perhaps be in the limelight all the time. So an external uh, validation, external
Attention seeking
approval.
somewhere.
Sorry?
Somewhere attention seeking behavior
Could
also
be.
comes into the.
Could be. Yes. Right. So that's one category. And the other category is when I am not able to live up to my own self-set expectations. Right. So, for example, some of you may be aware that I run, right? So, and my journey has been pretty adventurous to say the least. So, if suppose now because of this lockdown, I'm not able to go out for a run, and then suddenly I realize after the lockdown, I step out, and suppose I'm not able to run even a kilometer. Okay, that could make me feel depressed based on what I keep telling myself about the fact that I'm now not able to run even for 1 kilometer after being able to run like say 21 kilometers. Right? So if I keep saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that this has happened to me," so there is a self-set expectation that I'm not able to meet. Over so rapidly, I keep saying that to myself, keep saying. The emotion that I'm going to experience is depression. So similarly, my friends are not calling me. This is such a horrible thing. There is nothing left in life. Right? For some people, it is really that important. So I'm talking from an external. So that's the second category where I could feel really depressed. So depression, a lot of people say, is common among senior citizens
Okay.
because their life changes, right? So their life is not the same as it used to be. So if they are going to keep telling themselves that life should not have changed, life should have been the same, it's horrible that life has changed, etc., then they ought to feel depressed, right? So it's I mean, while these are the two broad categories, it's primarily determined by our thought process and what we keep telling ourselves, like the core thoughts.
Okay. Coming to the present scenario wherein people have no option but to stay home, stay safe. Many are overworked. Many are going through the insomnia phase as well. There are people who are awake till 2, 3, 4 in the night. They're not able to sleep despite the whole day they would have done so much of work, but still रात को तो नींद नहीं आता है.
Right.
Now, what other kind of emotions are people experiencing during these times? Can you tell us something about the kind of cases that you have been addressing?
Sure. So the most predominant emotion that a lot of people are facing is anxiety. Anxiety, if you want to know whether you are going through anxiety or not, just take a look at what your thoughts are. If your thoughts are filled with what if questions, what if this happens? What if the lockdown increases? What if I don't get supplies? What if groceries don't happen? And insomnia, ka main karan is what if questions. Because we are not trying to analyze, we are not trying to ask ourselves, what if this happens? We're saying, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Right? And so when people say, I overthink, mostly it's this what if question ka bhavar. Right? It starts at A, it's reached Z, and it's come back to A, and it's gone back to Z like a zillion times. Right? So anxiety is one of the most. So anxiety basically because there's uncertainty, and we want a guarantee. The mind wants a guarantee. Ye sab acha hoga. Right? But right now we don't know. So therefore the mind thinks बुरा ही होने वाला है. So anxiety. Right? So that's one. Second, a lot of people are not necessarily directly impacted by the coronavirus or the lockdown. I mean, the disease as such. It's more to do with the fact that they are locked up at home, therefore no freedom. So
The
frustration.
feeling caged.
Yes. Second, a very common problem that a couple of clients have actually spoken about is अभी तक शादी सक्सेसफुल था क्योंकि हम पार्टनर्स में सोशल डिस्टेंस था. अभी एक्सटर्नल सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग के वजह से we have to be in the same house 24/7. So there is no concept of space right now. So everything that was, let's not talk about it, no confrontation, everything is okay, all is well. Abhi wo nahi ho pa raha hai because if you're with each other all the time, there are going to be issues, there are going to be conversations, and therefore conflict. You don't get along. So वो ज्यादा नजर में आ रहा है लोगों को. So there are people calling up saying I need help with that. So yeah, so anxiety is very common during these times, especially. There's a lot of frustration, depression also. Yes, there's anger, right? Because मेरे हिसाब से चीजें होनी चाहिए. I am used to running the show, पर अब नहीं हो रहा है मेरे हिसाब से. So so anger as well. Yes,
Anger as well.
interesting
Okay.
mix.
Now, can being in an abusive relationship, verbal or physical, lead to depression unknowingly? Like, how does one identify when one needs help to talk it out? Especially now during the lockdown, in case there are women who are any kind of domestic abuse, for example, then they
Right.
do not know how to express what they are going through. What should
Right.
they do?
Right. So, see, the thing about abuse, so there is one more aspect to abuse which a lot of us don't know, which is emotional abuse,
Okay.
right? And that I think is the most common form of abuse, which all of us could have gone through at some point of time without being aware of, I'm not going to talk to you, a way of punishment, silent treatment. Okay, but that is a little easier to deal with, although it's very uncomfortable. But when there is verbal abuse or there's physical abuse, it's little more difficult because in terms of the damage caused physically, right? If you need to, say, step out because you've been hit or there is a threat that you're going to be hit, it's scary, right? So one, how does one express? Now the point is, if they are being abused, they know that they are being abused. Correct. Now, most of the times, the person who is abusing gets strength because the person who is being abused is quiet about it.
Okay.
Right. But I understand that it's easier said than done. Not everyone can actually, get aggressive and fight back or anything. However, there could be a lot of little options that you may have in terms of support system. Correct. In terms of, say, maybe your parents, maybe your friends, or identifying an NGO, or because there are a load, like a long list of places that offer help. But for that, a person first needs to believe that they are willing to take that step. Correct. And again, it's a point of choice. If they say that I don't want to, because this is how my life is going to be, then they are definitely going to inch towards depression. But point is, that's a choice they are making, right? If they are going to think कि कोई और उपाय है ही नहीं, there is always a choice. It's about being aware of the choice and taking responsibility that I am making a choice to not do it and to stay in this space. Now, another thing, considering the lockdown, it could be a little more difficult. And sometimes what happens between partners is, like we said, right? One says something, the other doesn't like it. Therefore, there is first a verbal abusive war, and then after that, it could lead to, say, physical, like a fist fight or whatever, throwing things and stuff. So it's important during such times to set ground rules, saying that if I realize that I'm getting triggered, I will tell you. You go into this place, I go into this place. Basically, physically distancing yourself literally, is the best way short term to deal with the problem. Because that temporary pause is going to help calm the person down. Usually, why it gets aggravated further is when is because the person also keeps poking. That's what happens, right? One doesn't want to listen, the other one doesn't want to shut up either. So then it becomes this whole Mahabharat where there's no stopping, and then it could end up with. There are times when both partners hit each other. It's not necessarily just one partner doing only the hitting. Yes, the stronger one will perhaps be more victorious. But like setting certain ground rules would be helpful. During such times, actually not talking is better, right? Why invite trouble? Having said that, if someone wants to lodge a police complaint, although the police is engrossed with dealing with the issues pertaining to corona, it's not that they're not taking cases at all. And something which is as intense as this, it's not possible that they will say just go away. Right? So that is still a possibility. Reaching out to your support system is still a possibility. So things like that can still be done during such times.
Okay. Can exercise and dietary changes also help to fight depression in individuals?
So it could, but a lot depends on the mindset with which they are doing it.
Okay.
Right? If they're doing it saying, "ये क्या रखा है ये करने में? चलो ठीक है करते हैं." Then I'm starting off only feeling like it's a pointless thing to do. Right? So again, it comes back to the thought process, the intent with which you're doing something. Correct. So on the other hand, if you do something saying, I'm doing this because I'm feeling low, and I believe that at least this could be one step towards bringing me out of this situation. Just a shift of attitude. You could be doing the same exercise, eating the same kind of food, right? And it could still have a different impact based on that. Like it's like if the doctor tells me, "Agar theek hona hai, to ye karo," and if I say, "Okay, great. If I do this, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to get better." Versus, "Ab ye bhi karna hai." It's a difference of attitude,
किसी और के लिए करना जैसा हो जाता है. It is not like
exactly.
Correct. As a practitioner of healthy and happy mind, how do you begin and end your day?
Tricky question. So my thing is I don't really follow very strict schedules. I'm a very flexy person like that. But I try as much as possible to include some time during the day. I try and do that first thing in the morning. But agar nahi hua, it's okay. I don't beat myself up. Some time for introspection. If there is, and I don't have a set way of meditating. I do whatever I feel like doing. The reflective time. It could be visualization. It could be some writing. It could be anything. Okay. Then I try and incorporate exercise through the day for any time of the day that I can for at least an hour. That's something that I try. 45 minutes to an hour is something that is important for me. Yeah. And apart from that, although I'm not able to do it on a regular basis, but I try and be connected with things that make me really happy. Like, say, for example, like speaking to friends, like doing fun stuff. So yeah, that's how I take care of my physical, emotional, and spiritual wellness.
Super. As a psychologist, if you have to give one valuable tip to all the viewers, what would that
be? Okay, so my tip is don't be too harsh on yourself. Live in the moment, have goals, aspire to be better, but don't beat yourself up if you were not able to achieve what you wanted to. There is always another day, there is always another opportunity. And it's not worth punishing yourself so bad, because if you punish yourself, then you're not anyway going to be motivated to achieve what you want to.
Okay. Social media or no social media? Social media a boon or a bane for mental health? How much is too much?
And especially asking this question during these times, wherein social media is like the crutch. Like everyone's on social media to make themselves feel better. Right. So the thing is, social media initially came into existence so that people could be in touch with each other. Yeah, traffic and busy lives ke beech mein, making sure that you are able to stay connected, which is great, right? The concept of social media is great. However, what happens therefore is the over obsession with and totally losing track of reality and things that you want to do by being carried away by things that are on the social media. Like suppose you upload a picture because you want to share that memory with your friends. Great. But if you keep logging in to check how many people liked, who said what, who's saying what, oh, only so many people liked. If you get obsessed with it, then it just defies the entire purpose, right? Your mental health has gone out of the window. Correct. Similarly, if you're resorting to social media because you want to avoid reality, or you want to put away certain things that you want to work on, which a lot of us do. Okay, we are guilty of doing it. Procrastination, जिसे कहते हैं, right? Delaying, 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 delaying. And social media, a lot of us think at that time कि हाँ, social media वरदान है, because we can delay without feeling guilty because we are lost in a different world. But if we don't take a hold of ourselves and if we keep delaying, then days will become weeks, weeks will become months, months will become years, and we're only delaying things. Correct? So, from that perspective, how much is too much? When you realize that it's infringing into your personal life, it's infringing into your uh, normal functioning, where the only thing that you're thinking about is, oh, this person said this on social media, this person did this on social media, correct? This person's put so many pictures, and I should, if you take it as a competition, or if you start feeling depressed that your life is not as happening. And it's very important to believe also that everything that goes up on social media may not necessarily be true. And even if it is true, it is not the entire truth.
Of
right?
course, this conversation is truth. Please note.
Sorry?
The conversation happening right now is truth, please.
Yeah, of course. Yes, we are absolutely here authentically having this conversation. But I'm saying, I know of clients who were coming for like couples therapy. They were putting up happy pictures on social media. They were going through a divorce और वो लोग मतलब खुद के together वाले pics डाल रहे थे. Right? And people are like, oh, you're the best couple and stuff like that, I got to know because there was some common friend.
Okay.
So it came as a shock. So anyway, I mean, the point is that, don't get so engrossed in social media that it comes in the way of your normal functioning. And only you know how much is too much. It's about being aware.
Okay, so one last question. We have only 3 minutes. Any online activities or workshops that ReFind You has planned for people in the coming days?
Yes. So after a lot of deliberation, a lot of thinking in terms of what can be done, we are starting a Facebook live series first that ReFind You has planned out actually. We're starting tomorrow, in fact. We're starting tomorrow onwards, 10 minutes every day, 7:30, say 10 minutes ke liye, where it's called Celebrate You.
Okay.
So the idea is we're not going to talk about any negative things, nothing. It's going to be an activity-driven thing. Notebook or pencil lekar aa gaye agar, so there'll be something given. So it's going to be interactive. That's the only information I can give. Apart from that, we're planning certain workshops, some which are leadership oriented, skill development based, some which are for handling emotional disturbance, some to do with growth oriented, personal growth oriented. So the calendar is being finalized right now. Fine, at least the list is ready. The calendar will be out soon.
Okay. One last question. How can one reach out to you?
So they can reach out either through Facebook. We have a page, ReFind You, or by visiting our website, which is refindyou.com. And we have an email ID, which is teamrefindyou@gmail.com, refindyou@gmail.com, दोनों है. And website पे सारी details available है. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Sush. I
I'm
think
glad this happened.
we had an amazing conversation, and I hope people have benefited. While I cannot see any comments on my window. If anyone has any doubts, any questions, and you all want me to share it with Sushma, even as anonymous, you can get in touch with me, or you can get in touch with Sushma directly.
See if I can pull up something.
And we have just 1 minute to go. The next session is a dance session with Sangeeta Morje. She'll be tagging me. And let's get ready to dance and enjoy a wonderful week ahead. Do check out Sushma's page, ReFind You, ReFindYou. That's the spelling. Thank you.
Thank you, Radha. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching.